Hello, so welcome back to our channel. So it's my channel, Sewing with Twin. So we're going to be drafting a jacket with a shawl collar, and to do that we're going to be using our pattern, the pattern that we had created earlier on in the course of the video, one of the previous videos. So if you've not watched that video, please go back to one of my previous videos and watch the video. So this is the pattern that we're going to be using, you can see, but we're going to be drafting this pattern. We're going to place it on another sheet of paper so that we'll be able to draw out the lapel and be able to label it. So for this pattern, we left allowance here at the shoulder point, and we also left allowance at the hem point. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be folding in our allowance at the shoulder point here so that we can draft it. We're going to fold in the allowance here, and we're also going to be folding in the allowance that has been given here also. Okay, and now after we have done that, we'll put it on our paper. We'll leave enough allowance up here. We'll leave about 5 to 6 inches at the top from our shoulder part. Then we'll also leave enough allowance at this side here because we're going to be drafting our lapel from here. So quickly, we're going to take our pen and paper, and we're going to trace out all this. We're going to trace out all the sides of this piece from the neckline to the front part. So this piece, we're going to trace it onto our new tracing paper. The reason why we're folding in this part here is because we're not going to be making use of these dots at the side. We're not going to be making use of it. So the extra dots that we drafted here, we're going to fold it in because we don't need it, okay, because we're not going to make use of this. If you want to understand why we do that, we just go back to one of my previous videos and you will understand. You will just go through it and you'll be able to understand perfectly why because we drafted this dots, we also had to add extra inches here to compensate for the dots that are here. Okay, so quickly let's trace out the pattern. I'm going to use my tracing wheel to be able to get the lines, for my bust line, and also to be able to get the line for my waistline. I'm tracing it onto, and all the lines I've made them, so I'll just roll them out. I also get my sewing allowance here. This tracing wheel helps me to mark it onto the paper underneath, so it makes it easier for me. So there we go, all the markings are here. So now I'm going to trace out the markings with my marker now. Okay, so there we go. We've been able to trace out onto it now. So now that I've traced it out, the very first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to determine my button allowance, because I'm going to be placing the button on it, and I'm going to be using 1 inch to do that. So I'm going to mark out 1 inch on this side of it. I'll mark out 1 inch and draw my 1 inch allowance all the way down. So I'll connect it here. Then I'll also determine now where I want the lapel to start from. Basically, you could do it 2 inches below the lapel could start 2 inches below your underbust, or it could start at your waistline here. It could start at the waistline here. You just measure it up, you just go up by 1 inch So this is where the fold of the lapel could start from. You could do that. You could take it up 1 inch, you could take it up 2 inches, depending on how wide you want the lapel to be, how open you want it to be. So that's what determines. But for me, I'm just going to do it like 1.5 inches above the waistline. It's going to start the opening from around here. So I just go ahead and mark it there. Okay, then when I mark it there, so I take, as I said, I take 1.5 inches from the waist up, or you could do 1 inch. It depends on how deep you want the lapel or where you want the lapels to start from. You could do 1, you could do 1.5. I will be doing 1 inch. So from this 1 inch now, I'm going to make a straight line all the way down here. But as you see, I'm not going to make it get to the end. It's not going to touch this line. It's just here. Then I'm going to make a curve. I'm going to have a Gatsby curve around here. I'm going to do a Gatsby curve. I've already traced what I wanted before, so I'm just going to, you can freehand it, you can freestyle it, okay, just to make sure, because this is how I want the front of the lapel, the front of the jacket to look like. So this is it here. This line is not there apparently. Okay, after doing that, I come to the end of my jacket. That is the side of the jacket. I don't want it to be straight, so I also want to give it a bit of a cut. So I come a bit of curve to make it look a bit trendy. So I can come here, I'll come here and I'll put it up 0.5. I'll take 0.5 inches and I come here and I'll also give it a curve. I'll give it a curve using my curved ruler. I use my ruler to get it straight. I draw a straight line, and as you can see, the bottom of my jacket is really coming out nice. It's looking neat, it's looking really trendy already. It doesn't look like the normal. So now we're going to come and we're going to work on the collar part, the lapel part. Right here, we're going to get what our neckline is. Our neckline for the front and the back, because we're going to be drawing, it's going to, the lapel is going to be coming from the back. We're going to draw an extension here, and that extension is basically the amount of what the neckline is here. The neckline for the front and the back is the same, which is 3 inches. So we're going to measure up our 3 inches at this side here. So let's just go ahead and do that. Come here and measure up 3 inches. After curving the bottom, after getting the bottom, we now come back up here and join from this line where we took 1 inch above the waistline. We'll join it to the edge of the neckline here. Just use our long ruler to join it. Okay, then we come here, we take the width of our neckline, the width of the front neckline and the width of the back neckline that we took was 3 inches. Okay, it's the same thing for the front and for the back. It's actually 3 inches here. So we're going to come here and continue the slant that we made. Continue that slant that we made, okay, following the same angle by 3 inches. Okay, and we draw our line all the way to join it from where the 3 inches is marked. We join the line. So right here at this point where we have added the 3 inches at the edge, we now square up. We take 0.5 inches from there, okay, and we just square it up with our ruler, the essence of this, and we now make a slight curve to this place here. The essence of it is so that the collar relaxes well on your neck, at the back of your neck. So you just come here and give it a slight curve back. You curve it all the way back to this line here. This makes it to sit slightly, makes it to sit comfortably on your neck. After doing that, we're now going to determine how wide we want the lapel to be. Okay, you could do it 3 inches, you could do it 3.5, you could do it 2.5. It depends on how wide you want it to be and the shape you also want it to be. But for me, I'm just going to do a lapel of 3 inches. So I'll measure it here, I'll mark it, then I'll square it up. Okay. That's squaring it up. So now we're going to, this is the major part of it. The lapel, now we're going to connect it from here to here. It is now left for you what type of shape you want it to be. If you want it to be square, if you want it to have a little bit of a curve, everything depends on you. So at this point in time, I'm going to use my pencil to do a draft of it before I use my marker to mark it down permanently. So just go ahead. I'm going to trace, I'm going to do a bit of designing on what I want now. So I did a bit of freestyling with my pencil and I've gotten a design that I think I really like. So what I did, I'm just going to connect it now. As I said, you can do it any style that you want. Okay, any style that you prefer. So I just did mine straight and I connected this place. Okay, I like that. So we come here and get the midpoint of this shoulder here. We get the midpoint, that's 4.5. You just get the midpoint and you mark it. After we get the midpoint, we now connect it to this line, to the dots here. We connect it to the dots there. And there we go. After that, now after I've joined this point to this place to form a shoulder, that now I'm going to be taking 0.5 inches sewing and cutting allowance all around. Okay, let's just go ahead and do that and I'll show you. So I've traced it out with the green ink, with the green pen, and you can see, so this is what we have for the front pattern. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut out my front pattern. Okay, there we go. So this is the front pattern. As you can see, this is how the lapel is going to be. This one is going to join at the back. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on the back pattern. So this is the back panel now. We've put the back panel on another drafting paper. So we're going to draft out the back now. We're going to start by tracing out all this, all the shape, the pattern of the back. We're going to start by tracing it out. We don't need the zipper allowance for the back part. We don't need the zipper allowance because there's no zipper at the back. So I'm just going to use my tracing wheel to trace out all the lines. I'm going to also use my marker to mark out the outline of everything, and you get to see it now. Remember also that our allowance at the edge, at the shoulder that we put when we were drafting, we're going to fold it in just like we did the one for the front. So let's just go ahead and trace. I'll take my tracing wheel now to trace out this allowance, this zip allowance, okay? Because from the back, we had already formed, from our pattern, we had already formed the shape of the back. We don't need the zip allowance. This is the only line that we need now, okay? Then we're also going to get out our waist measurement. On this paper now, so we'll just draw. It's easy for us to draw our lines now, so we'll use our ruler now to get our lines. So this is the line of our zipper line. With the curvature of the back. If you go to how we drafted our pattern, we drafted in such a way that this back face now, we do not have a bulge when we're sewing. So now we come here just the same way we did at the back. Remember that we removed 0.5 inches from the back here because we don't want it to just be ordinary. We want to give it a bit of flair at the back. And we come here and we draw a straight line. It was the same thing we did for the front. Okay, so we're going to cut off this bottom part to give it a flair at the back. Then we come to the shoulder. The shoulder here, we divide this by 2. We divide the shoulder measurement by 2, get the midpoint and connect it so that we can form a shoulder dart. We connect it to the bust point so that we could get a shoulder dart. This is optional. While we are sewing your jacket, we could cut this, okay? We could form our dart here all the way to the shoulder here, or this place just here alone. So everything here is optional. But if you're going to take it up here, that means that you're going to leave a little bit more, you're going to add a little bit more allowance to the side. After joining it, now we're now going to put our 0.5 inches allowance all around. Okay, let me just go ahead and do that. We're using the green pen to do that. Just mark 0.5. So after doing that, just go ahead. You can see the allowances are marked out in the green pen. So now I'm going to go out and just cut it all out. Cut it. So there we go. We're done with the back. Let me just label it. So if you've learned anything new, anything interesting, please subscribe so that you could get more of our videos. When they come out, you'll be notified. Also, please like this video, make comments, and in the next video we're going to be putting this pattern, this lapel pattern, we're going to be putting it on fabric and we're going to be sewing. Thank you for watching. Take care and see you soon. Bye.